I said I'ma crush it. Call me the gold.
Welcome to Unsung, the nonprofit news magazine show. I'm your host, Anthony Walker. We're coming to you again from Grandview Park on Mount Washington. We're lucky to have unusually warm weather for this time of year, so it's not bad to be outside. Unsung had a special opportunity to sit down with former Congressman from Ohio, Tony Hall, recently. He has a blueprint to end hunger, and we think we can learn from his ideas on how we can tackle this problem in our community. Plus, we get a sneak peek at factory installed at the Mattress Factory. But first, let's see what's happening with the nonprofits in our region. 40 organizations ranging from United States Steel Corporation to Group Against Smog and Pollution to Cystic Fibrosis Foundation's Western Pennsylvania chapter, along with hundreds of individuals across the region, have signed on to the Breathe Project. The multi-million-dollar research, public awareness, and action campaign was initiated by the Heinz Endowments with the goal of raising the region's air quality from the ranks of the worst in the country to the ranks of the best. Key coalition members will lead an upcoming public meeting to set goals, develop a process for implementing solutions, and measure improvement in air quality. Many coalition members already are involved in significant air quality improvement efforts. Among them, U.S. Steel Corporation's $1.1 billion pollution control upgrade at its Clairton operations, the Endowments and Port Authority Transit's collaboration resulting in bike racks being installed on all buses in the fleet, the City of Pittsburgh's new 10-year clean diesel policy, which sets forth target dates for conversion of city-owned diesel-powered vehicles, and the adoption of standards for best available retrofit technology for city-owned equipment, along with its adoption of a clean construction equipment ordinance requiring contractors at large city subsidized construction projects to install similar devices on their diesel equipment. A pollution remediation agreement between McConway and Torley, a Lawrenceville-based foundry, and the Group Against Smog and Pollution, a partnership between EQT Corporation and PAT to study the possibility of converting the entire public transit fleet to natural gas. Individuals are invited to learn more about the Breathe Project and are encouraged to join the coalition at breatheproject.org. On October 25th, as part of the Lights On After School, a national day of recognition celebrating the importance of after-school programming, Allegheny Partners for Out of School Time hosted a Lights On After School event at the Carnegie Science Center with local after-school program providers, participants, and advocates. The event culminated when icon Mr. McFeely and event attendees lit up the iconic Mr. Rogers Memorial statue. The Fred Rogers Memorial Statue lighting is one of the 10 winners of the Light Up a Landmark contest, a nationwide challenge that called for creative ideas for illuminating a local landmark that would also highlight the importance of after-school programs. Pittsburgh Social Venture Partners have announced a call for applications for the 2012 Fast Pitch. The PSVP Fast Pitch is a 2-month program designed to build the capacity of and create visibility for innovative local nonprofits. Leaders will participate in a Fast Pitch coaching program where they will receive training and feedback on how to succinctly and powerfully tell their stories. The training program will culminate with an evening event showcasing up to 10 finalists who will compete for $30,000 in grants. Details at psvp.org. Speaking of opportunities, Awesome Pittsburgh is live and looking for their first $1,000 grant winner. Got an awesome idea? Then share it with them by November 15th at awesomepgh.com. Now, let's send it over to Melissa Carey, who had the opportunity to chat with Tony Hall.
Hi, I'm Melissa Carey, and today I'd like to welcome former Congressman from Ohio and United States Ambassador to the United Nations Food Program, Tony Hall. He's currently the Executive Director of the Alliance to End Hunger. And I know you have a blueprint to end hunger. I like the fact that you have strategies and goals. Can you share some of the more pertinent ones?
Well, we basically feel that, the communities have the ability really to end hunger in their own backyard. and that when I was in Congress, I was chairman of the Select Committee on Hunger, and we did what we call best practices around the country. What would it take to make your community hunger-free? In other words, what we wanted to get communities to do is to say, nobody's ever going to go to bed hungry in our town again, in Pittsburgh, let's say, or in the community of Pittsburgh. And what would it take to do that? And we got it down to the best practices around the country, what it would take, and we got it down to 14 points. And so one of the things that we do at the Alliance is that we offer this program to any community across the country that wants to do this.
As individuals, how do we reach politicians?
You talk to them. Write their congressman, email their congressman, but see them personally and tell them about their life, especially if they've been hungry or if they know people that have been hungry, and ask them to start voting for these issues and start worrying about hungry people. Because, you know, hungry people and people that live in poverty, they don't have much of a voice. You know, they don't have campaign funds. They don't have advocates, or at least they don't have many of them in Washington, D.C. They're not particularly the greatest voters in the world. And they're kind of crowded out by all these expensive lobbyists in Washington, D.C. Their voice is not heard. So if the people, the ordinary people in this country, would raise their voice a little bit on behalf of hungry people, I think you'd see a lot better legislation.
There are definite perceptions of hunger and biases against people who are hungry and that live in poverty. What kind of things inside the organization do you promote to end those misconceptions?
I think what we really need is a leader, you know, a president, a senator, a governor, somebody to really take this issue of hunger and saying, I'm going to make this my issue. And by the time my term is over, I want people to say that nobody's going to go to bed hungry in America ever again. And we can do that here. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not like we know what to do. We produce enough food in this country to do this. It's a question of we haven't created the political will to do it. Well, I'll tell you a story that Mother Teresa taught me. I had the pleasure of spending some time with her. I met her maybe 7 or 8 times in my lifetime. The first time I met her was in Calcutta many years ago. And she took me downtown, and it was in a very busy part of Calcutta, a very poor area. People were living on the sidewalk, and, well, there was no sidewalk. I mean, they were just living on top of one another in very squalid conditions. And I said, you know, I must have said something to the effect, look at the poverty here. My gosh, I mean, people living on top of one another. I mean, where does one start? And she didn't say anything. She didn't say anything to me at that time. She saw somebody lying in the street and got some men to take this older man home, and she began to take care of him, clean him off, and I think that man died later on that afternoon. But she came back to me later in the day and said to me, you know, not everybody like you can come to Calcutta, but I want you to remember this, and I want you to tell people this. Always do the thing that's in front of you. You know, they can go to our website. They can go to the Alliance to End Hunger, which is the group that I am the executive director of. And right there, we have a website that talks about hunger-free communities, and they can go right into it.
On October 28, 2011, the Mattress Factory opened Factory Installed, an exhibition last presented at the museum in 2006. Factory Installed will support and exhibit new work by a selection of artists from throughout the world who had responded to an open submission call to the Artist in Residence program in January 2011. The exhibition will run through May 2012. Here's a sneak peek. Pittsburgh will mark the start of the holiday season for Friday, November 18th for Light Up Night. 2 days worth of festivities are planned, and more information is available at downtownpittsburgh.com. Holiday treats and totes will take place on December 8th from 5 to 8 p.m. at Bachtown in Robinson. The event will collect totes for the Pittsburgh Tote Bag Project and food for the Greater Pittsburgh Area Food Bank. More details at tote4pgh.blogspot.com. Construction Junction is also collecting the following: totes and food for the Pittsburgh Tote Bag Project and the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank, eyeglasses for Lens Crafters International Mission, coats, hats, gloves, and scarves for the East End Cooperative Ministry, pet food and supplies for the Humane Society of Western Pennsylvania. Drop-off is at Construction Junction, and details are at constructionjunction.org. Another opportunity for you to help is at Carnegie Science Center. Carnegie Science Center, in partnership with Citizens Bank and Wish 99.7, present Stockings of Love, a program that invites visitors to donate pairs of new socks to benefit the Homeless Children's Education Fund. All sizes of socks are needed for men, women, and children. Details at carnegiesciencecenter.org. Thanks for watching this episode of Unsung. You can check out our previous episodes and our Unsung Uncut series over at pittsburghonvideo.org. Let us know how you make a difference in our community or what you would like to see in upcoming episodes by adding your comments to this video. Also, be sure to tell your friends. I've been your host, Anthony Walker. We'll see you next time. Keep it awesome, Pittsburgh.
So I said I'ma crush it. Call me the golden boy cause it shine whenever I touch it. Don't rush it, the flow comes naturally. Actually, the whole hood after me. Masterpiece, I outran a pace car. And these dudes fucking mad cause they can't even find a day job. I stay hard with or without Viagra. And I said the flow crush like the force of Niagara. I'm after a major label budget, but since I'm